a long way to open up conversation. Okay, coming back. Follow through with the privileges. Yes, so 2 weeks and you do your stuff. And I will make sure that we go to the dollar store and pick out something for you. Make sure that when they achieve that, you go. You don't say, oh, you know what, today it's raining. Let's do it next after 3-4 days. That is not okay. You have to follow through with your privileges. Never ever compare them to anyone else. We already talked about this. Use humor when appropriate. And say, you know, sometimes, this is what we used to do. I'll give you an example. I used to pick up my son from school. I used to come home early from work. I used to pick him up from school and bring him back home. So I would ask him this question, so how was school today? Good. So, anything happened? Nothing really, just the usual day. So then, this is so bad. I would drive into some other neighborhood. He says, where are we going? I said, oh, you know what? I just wanted to hear more about your school and your day. So this is like a conversation facilitator. I was making fun. So say something, just make up something and tell me, you know. And he'd look at me and then we'd just burst out laughing. But that was a memory for us. Pack humor into something when you know that your child is struggling with something, not that's serious, but or you feel like there is tension between you and your child. Lighten it up because eventually you guys will talk. When the child knows that you can laugh about certain things, it helps them a lot. Really does, yes. Thank you. Find your own support in your significant other or maybe a close friend. Okay. So for single parents, yes, it's very important that they have the support. If you are a two-parent family, it's very important that the two of you have great communication. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to be those two fantastic role models for your children and help them. So it's very important that today it's the norm, both parents work. So therefore, you have to find a way to balance all of that with time for your child and be there when they need you. And they will send some, if I'm not mistaken, they will send some signs out to you to let you know that they need you. Yes? Do not live your unfulfilled dreams through your children. Get a life. It's very important that you do that. Absolutely important. So don't say, I wanted to be a musician all my life. And today my dream has come true. My daughter is going to learn music. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so hard. Okay, and so then I look at the child, even dance. You sure you want to learn dance? Or you run while you can because you're still not in here. Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Why do you want to learn dance? I like it. I said, okay, well then just try it one time. See if you like it. If you don't, run fast. You don't have to do this. It's very important that you're not, a lot of parents do that. They want their child to be the best and they want them to excel. And if you ask them, they will tell you, I never got this opportunity and my child is doing very well. I'm very proud of them. And this is great. This is fantastic because I feel so happy. But then what does mom and dad do? They look up Power School in their spare time. That's what they do. It doesn't work. You must get your life and let them know that there are some things that mom and dad do to be able to take care of themselves, whatever that might be. Various ways of doing it, but it's important. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you so much, JJ. So the lasting gains. It's very important. The communication part we know between parents and children is very important. Why? Because it helps build trust. When the child is able to, believe it or not, when the child is able to communicate with both parents, it actually increases their sense of confidence. And it makes them feel really good. Increased sense of hopefulness and optimism. Well, nothing like a child who is hopeful and optimistic. Most of the time. We all go through things. All of us do. But when they see the door half opened and half closed, That's good, because you know that this child is going to grow up to be an adult who's going to carry that optimism into their life, their work, their relationships. And that's a great feeling to have. It's a legacy that they take with them. Model it for them. If something doesn't work out, say, hopefully, if we do our best, we can make this better. And you can. I know in my heart that you will make it better somehow, somewhere. And that's a good way to go. Learn to relate to others, including family and friends. So if you want your children to be a part of your friend circle, try to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand that not always is it something very satisfying to them. So sit down with them and say, there's this one, I would do this way, there's this one thing that I really would like for you to go to. We can even go in 2 cars. You can come drop it and then just go. That's fine. If it's okay with you. If you still would prefer not to come, that's fine. When you insist that they do something, especially an older child, then they don't want to do it. For the younger one, you have to use another tactful approach and say, we're all going, and sometimes it's nice to go as a family, and it would mean a lot to me. I don't intend. Do not parent with guilt. Do not put the guilt on your child. I didn't include that, but it's very important that you not say, I never got to do this with my family, so for me this is so important. I see those people with their families and we're not doing this. It's so terrible. So this one time, let's all go out together. So mom's going to come out with her little fiddle and she's going to play it till we all agree to go, and then everybody just rolls out into the car. Nobody's looking happy. Fine, we'll do it. Willingness to reach out to others and altruism. Okay, so sometimes we tend to be very interested in what's going on in the neighbor's house. Okay, we want to know what's happening out there. Okay, on the pretext of being really concerned, we want to help them. We want to do whatever we can. At the expense of what? Individual time with your child. So it's very important that you take stock periodically and see what's going on that you can do to keep those lines of communication open. Sometimes they get clogged and you've got to clear it out. And you've got to find ways to do that. You have a person there, your significant other, who you can talk to be able to find ways of doing this. And you definitely will. You've got to hold on to that open optimism because, as I said, there are no rules in the game. You've got to go with what works best, but it's very important to understand your child. And this happens with small gains, small wins. Carl White, a great psychologist, talked about small wins. It's like drops of water make the ocean. Small wins make the big ones. So don't wait for the big things to happen. Appreciate the little things. Show your gratefulness for everything. If you go to a party, for instance, you come home and say, you know that woman? She couldn't stop talking about a child because he was on the honor roll, and then he's applying to these big schools, and then she's just talking about this, and then I'm sitting there going, what in the world? Okay, and this other one, she can shut up. She just has to talk and talk. And this other one, every time I see her, she's wearing this new Kanjivaram sari and jewelry. And so then the kid is going to probably go to mom and say, Mom, why exactly did you go to this party? You're coming back with all this negative stuff. Is it helping you or hurting you? So whatever you do, however you say, how you treat your friends, the way you look at the world, your child is watching and learning from you. So it's very important that you, as they grow older, you realize that you cannot live life for them, you cannot fight for their battles for them. You have to let them make choices, be open to advice, and it's very important that you realize that as your child grows older, even when they're young, but more so as they grow older, they are developing into their personalities, and really you are not the expert on your child just because you gave birth to them. You've got to learn to continue to understand them. And therein lies an inherent value in being that parent then. Never be your child's best friend. You are the parent and you will always be the parent. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika. That's a fabulous presentation.